Well, welcome everybody. It is so good to see you here on we may be seeing the start of a mini blue wave. It's not a presidential election. It's not even a midterm election, but we do have things happening here that are indicative of deep, deep antipathy towards Donald Trump and MAGA. And the early signs are very, very good for the left. Now, depending on Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I see people coming in. Come on in. Depending on where you're watching, the Virginia gubernatorial race has been called. Now, this is not the case everywhere. For example, here on NBC News, you see that despite 56% of the vote with 24% of the ballots counted, NBC has not yet called Virginia for Abigail Spanberger. But as we look around, we see that some have called it. For example, this is NPR. I guess NPR also hasn't called it. Okay, NPR hasn't called it. Here's the Associated Press, which also hasn't called it. But somebody has. Here we go. Decision Desk has called it for Abigail Spanberger. They are comfortable with this 13, almost 14-point lead with a quarter reporting to say that it is over. Now, I know that I don't know. There may be some people in the audience who are new to elections, and you might be saying, how could they already have called it? How is this possible? And it is basically a question of maths, plural, many different maths. But what it essentially comes down to is if you have a model and you say, okay, the lead is 13 and 3/4 of the vote is out. Given the counties that are yet to report, what percentage would Winsome Earl Sears need? And so if you come up with an answer that's like, well, in order to catch up, Winsome Earl Sears needs 72% of the remaining vote, it's like, that's not going to happen. You've got a high probability that you can call it and it is over. This is just basic math. Now, we do have to be prepared, and I know that there are some in my audience who are very much prepared. We have to be prepared for massive dumps. And this is a reality now of American politics where the dumps could hit at any time. And as we all remember on that fateful night in November of 2020, we were winning. We were winning everything by so much, 10 p.m. And then all of a sudden, 2 a.m., 2 in the morning, they did dumps, massive dumps, and everything changed. And I think I even have, do I have my, wait a second. Oh, here.
Big, massive dumps.
Exactly.
Dumps. And what happened, if you watched the election, I was called by the biggest people.
Right.
Saying, congratulations, political people. Congratulations, sir, you just won the election. It was 10 o'clock, and you looked at the numbers, and I'm sure you felt that way.
Oh, yeah.
This election was over. And then they did dumps. They call them dumps, big, massive dumps.
Yep.
In Michigan, in Pennsylvania, and all over. If you take a look.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I think we should, well, you all tell me, should I talk a little bit about the significance of Virginia in general as an off-year bellwether? Would that be relevant? Or do we want to see if Trump is losing his mind on Truth Central? Do we want to go through the other key races? What would people like? It's just and then I'll explain what's going on with the donations that we're doing in a moment. What is it people would like me to talk about? Well, let's talk about, I'll briefly talk about Virginia. The reason Virginia is so relevant in an off-year election is that it really is a state that sometimes votes for Republicans and sometimes votes for Democrats. And I mean, it's not like it doesn't take a genius. It can just sometimes be predictive of what we expect to happen next in the next election, which right now, of course, would be the midterms of 2026. And Trump is very scared of what might happen in the midterms of 2026. So we care about Virginia because Virginia is not just a state. It is a state that can be a bellwether of sorts. Now, let's talk about some of the other key races that we are looking at today. Virginia governor, I'm calling it over in my completely inexpert opinion. Decision Desk has called it. NPR and NBC haven't. It's over, guys. It's over. Abigail Spanberger has won Virginia. She was on the show. It is a bit of a golden touch. I don't want to pat myself on the back too early, but I believe it is possible that the three candidates that we interviewed in these races are ultimately going to be the winners, and this could create a rush of people breaking down the door to be interviewed on the show. Correlation, causation, we know that those are two different things. Okay, we then are going to start getting results very soon from New Jersey for governor. There is a Trump adjacent guy named Jack Ciattarelli, and then Mikey Sherrill, former Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, who was a guest on this show. That's another major race. We, of course, have the New York City mayoral race. Now, there are ways in which this race is big, and there are ways in which this race is not as big as some of these others. What I mean is the following. I know that there is the question of whether a Mamdani win in New York City would suggest a potential new direction for the Democratic Party. That is significant, and that is a TBD. On the other hand, New York City mayor race is not considered predictive of the national economic, national political landscape in the way that Virginia governor is, but still an important race, and we are going to get those results apparently very soon after 9 p.m. Eastern. I guess it's going to be ready to go. And then fourth, our friend Gavin Newsom pushing this California redistricting, fighting fire with fire. Texas just did it. They didn't consult with voters. California saying, hey, listen, for as long as we have partisan redistricting, do the people of California, democracy, do the people of California want to do partisan redistricting to maybe gain 5 seats next year? And we are going to be getting those results as well. Those are the 4 big races today. Out of 4, MAGA has already lost 1. That is where we find ourselves as of this moment. We have super chats coming in. I am going to make every effort to read and respond to every super chat. Camus says, talk about the massive dumps and Trump's stroke. Well, listen, we've talked extensively on this program about health-related speculation with regard to Donald Trump. So we are certainly going to continue talking about that. And the massive dumps could come in at any time. So that's also, I mean, we're really going to be talking about all of it. I don't know how else to say it, but we will be talking about absolutely every single element of that. And 7 minutes from now, we are going to get some additional results. Now, I guess I should say a little something about the Virginia Attorney General race. This is a controversial race in which the challenger, the Democrat, Jay Jones, I admit I didn't follow it closely, but he was involved in some, let me, Jay Jones text messages. I want to make sure I'm completely clear on exactly what he said. Text messages showing Jay Jones fantasizing about shooting then House Speaker Todd Gilbert have surfaced. And there are people who are like, this is not exactly the Democrat that we need. I did not follow that race closely, and it looks like it is potentially going to go to Jones, although only 29% of the vote is in. He's leading by 1.4. So we are going to watch that one very, very closely. Mystic Max via Super Chat is asking for an Obama. There we go. Animal Skins says, David, be sure to use the phrase, long live the king that's not listening, implying to Trump's ruthless reign as a king, not listening to the people. Yes. Thank you, Animal Skins. I will absolutely do that. We are going to be doing all of it, and we're going to be doing it quickly, very quickly, as Donald Trump has been saying. Abigail Spanberger, it has now been called on NBC. It is a flip. Republicans losing the seat. That is the gubernatorial seat currently held by Glenn Youngkin, a genuinely horrible person. And Abigail Spanberger wins. It is a flip. It is a Democratic pickup. And it is the first loss of the night for Scrumps, Orange Scrumps, as we have come to know him. Speaking of Trump, over on his Truth Central, he is bracing for major, major losses. And we're going to talk about this on the show tomorrow, of course. Trump is talking about, where were these? Here it is. Trump is already saying that what California is doing is unconstitutional. He says it's a scam. He says the voting is rigged, that the mail in ballots are criminal. So he's basically covering all bases so that when in all likelihood, it is another win for Democrats and loss for MAGA. You know, tonight, Trump's going to lose. The Magadonians are going to lose. The Magapotamians are going to lose. And the Magats, they're all losing, I think, tonight. Trump's getting ready to say it was all rigged and Stalin and the entire thing. Trump also, by the way, saying he is not going to release the SNAP benefits. He's saying he doesn't care what the courts say. He is not going to do it. And that is actually what the fundraiser we're doing is all about. I'll tell you what it is. I would love to raise like 10 grand on this stream if we could. I don't know if we can. Here's what we're doing. Starting yesterday and for the remainder of the month, because we want to help. There's people in the audience that want to help, etc. We've identified a food charity that I believe is unparalleled. Okay. This is the charity Feeding America. Feeding America supports food banks all across the country. 98 cents of every dollar they get goes to actually feeding people. Very low overhead, very efficient. For the month of November, every person that signs up on my website or for a Substack paid membership, we're donating the first month to Feeding America. Okay? If you get a monthly membership, your first payment goes to Feeding America. If you get a yearly membership, your first payment goes to Feeding America. Okay. So far, 67 people have signed up. We've raised about $2,700. Every dollar funds 10 meals. That means you have so far funded 27,225 meals, which is insane. I want to go 10x on this thing. Okay. So if for people who sign up during the stream, I will shout you out, and I'm going to try to keep up with these numbers in real time. So like, just as a, for example, Chris Littler just signed up on my website for $70. Joe Badera for $100. Holly for $7. That's $177 total. And Melina for $10. So that's $187 total. I got to figure out now, I've got to do the, here it is. Oh, here it is. So so that was 4. So that's like 71. And then this is the math of it. This is going to be hard to keep up with, but I will try. It puts us at like 2910. And that's about, there we go. So I'm going to try to keep these numbers updated in real time, but needless to say, we will eventually catch up on all the numbers. We want to try to feed, okay, can we do 100,000 meals? Can we do 200,000 meals? I don't know, but we're going to try. Okay. That's what we're going to try to do. There are some people in the chat who are suggesting that Winsome Earl Sears is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, off her rocker, wackadoodle. She seems very off to me. Very, very, like seriously off. But I'm not able to make a formal diagnosis, at least not in this setting. Maybe in a clinical setting, I would be able to do it. Few other super chats coming in. David, I read your book and was pleased to find many instances of the letter E and other vowels, just as you said. Yeah, my book contains every consonant and every vowel multiple times. Jeff says the only red wave is in Trump's diaper. Wow. Deviled Lesbian says Trump is a microwaved circus peanut. Mike says CNN calls Spanberger the winner. Yes. David, why is nobody arrested or indicted for blatantly ignoring court orders? Do laws in America exist? What can we do as citizens? Love the show. Check out my live that I did today with Joyce Vance, where we actually talk about that in detail. H-Lo says, I hope you interview Afton Ben. She is running in a Tennessee special election on December 2nd. MAGA rep vacated the seat late this summer. Okay, we're going to look into that. And then thanks, Janine, for the super chat as well. If you are just joining us, we are on the precipice of starting to get some data very soon out of New Jersey, expecting data out of New Jersey any moment. One is down. The Republican-held gubernatorial seat of Virginia has fallen to Abigail Spanberger, a healthy 9-point lead. It has been called. The next one is to look at New Jersey. New Jersey would not be a flip. Phil Murphy, the Democrat, currently holds that seat. And the question is, will Mikey Sherrill hold it? We then will look at the New York mayoral, which is next to come. And then California's Proposition 50 ballot measure is going to be happening a little bit later on today. And so all of that is happening. Lisa asks, can you send super chat payments to Feeding America? I'm already a member. So we really can't. And there's a couple things. YouTube takes a sizable cut of super chats. That money we don't get until like 25 days after the month has ended. It's a whole complicated thing. So for existing members, if you're a member on the website, consider getting a Substack paid membership or vice versa. And the website has a gift function. If you have a membership, you can get a new membership, check just a gift. We'll give the membership away to someone on our waiting list and the money will get donated. So it's all happening. El Jersey Rican says, David, you're the man. Talk to me about Jersey. Let me tell you a little bit of a story about Jersey, my friend. Just the other day, I was driving like this. This is typing and this is driving. I was driving to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, or Pennsylvania, as Trump pronounces it, for a beautiful creator event with Governor Josh Shapiro. And I stopped in an incredible place called Morristown, New Jersey. Some say Morristown. I say Morristown. And it was quite nice. The driving was a criminal atrocity. I saw people around Morristown as I was trying to stop there for lunch. I saw people driving in ways that it should not be civil, it should be criminal. Okay? But Morristown was nice, and I had a beautiful lunch there. Got a coffee at General Coffee Company, I think it was called, and then went on my way. So it really was a nice experience in New Jersey, which is not, you don't necessarily assume that that's the case. Okay, other super chats here. David, what do you think about Hassan shocking his dog? I don't know a thing about it. I heard he shocked his dog, but other than that, I don't know if it's true. I don't know a thing about it. Aaron says, Virginian here. Thank goodness there's still hope for a fight against fascism here. Yes, there very much is. Priscilla says, keep up the good fight. Thank you, Priscilla. Going to try. For as long as they'll let me do it. Lar Arsis says, after MAGA ends, what's next for the far right? I am going to say two words for you. This is a cautionary tale, okay? This is a cautionary tale.
And we will ban men.
Those are the wrong words, not ban men. I am going to give you two words, and I see people in the chat. You know the two words I'm about to say. I fear, but hope that I am wrong, that the future of the far right after MAGA isn't Nick Fuentes. Okay? That is potentially what we are up against. And Tucker Carlson seems to be sort of playing soft welcoming Fuentes. We've even seen people like Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald treated Nick Fuentes in an interview better than he treated me after the chorus fiasco. Think about that a little bit. Okay? Dear God. All right, I have other super chats coming in. David, please say Obama. Here it is.
Obama.
Vertigo says, long live the king that's not listening and the unthinking majority too dangerous. Hope you use both terminologies, Dave, perhaps in another video. Yes. And Monpic says, do you think Trump is in the new Lincoln bathroom watching your live stream? Big Mac in one hand and in the other? Oh my God. I'm refusing to talk about that. I don't even want to think about that. Did you eat at the Green in Morristown? No, I ate at a place in Morristown called Local, and it's spelled L-O-K-L. This is not a sponsorship. I just ate there. I had a beautiful sandwich. And I don't have too much else to say about it. I really don't. Not too much else. All right. I want to say thank you to Tara Vega, who just signed up on my website, $100. Wyatt, $3. Sarah, $100. That puts us, that is another 303. So that's like 3213, we're going to call it, meaning we have now funded over 32,000 meals. And thanks to Shannon Brinker as well, getting a $10 membership puts us at 3223. And that is another 100 meals that we have funded. If you're just joining us, we are raising money for Feeding America, donating the first payments on any website or Substack memberships to Feeding America. You all have raised $3,200, and we have funded 32,000 meals so far. All right, let's get an update as to whether we have numbers, and we do. The early folks, I hope folks are sitting down here. Donald Trump right now is clenching his phone and probably doing ungodly things as the numbers come in. Abigail Spanberger has taken a seat, winning as governor of Virginia. That is number one. With only 11% of the vote in, Mikey Sherrill, another former guest on this program, is leading Jack Schitterelli. Dear God, that can't be how it's pronounced, right? 59 to 40. 59 to 40. It is very early. 89% of the vote remains out there. Chicklet says, David, what do you think of the majority report? Well, it's hosted by my friend Sam Cedar. I haven't seen a clip of the majority report in probably a decade. I don't really watch shows like mine, but Sam is a friend. And thanks, NBuff, for the super chat. Early data from New Jersey is not good for Donald Trump. We now have some county level data being presented here by Steve Kornacki. Let's take a look.
We'll get a very interesting result when this comes in.
Yeah. Okay, I guess they've gone mute here. They've gone mute as the numbers are coming in. Let's see over here on ABC.
If his support would have backfired, given again that these are blue-leaning states. And if you look at a state like Virginia, the president, the shutdown, his policies, all of that has been looming especially large as we've been discussing the very large population of federal workers who've been furloughed, all of these pocketbook issues really hitting home in that state. But also in New Jersey, we have seen Mikey Sherrill capitalize on President Trump threatening to withhold billions of dollars in infrastructure spending, threatening to shut down that critical gateway project that would be helping New Jersey commuters. But what we've seen
here is an interesting little tidbit. This is from our friend Aaron Parnas. This is video from USC. Look at the turnout for Prop 50. Okay, this is not a presidential election. This is not a midterm election. This is not a California gubernatorial. This is something that Newsom just launched weeks ago. And look at this. Look at this. This is an off-year ballot initiative. Look at this line. Wait, somebody's saying this is the line for Quiznos. No, I'm kidding. This is the line to vote for in Prop 50. This has the potential to be a bigger blowout than the ones that my baby daughter has been generating lately. This could be a massive, massive blowout, but we've got to wait. We've got to wait and see. Other super chats coming in. Abe says, I'm a website member. Love the stream. I had CNN on another screen. You're much more entertaining. Keep up the good work, sir. Well, thank you. By the way, they invited me to be on that 10 p.m. Newsnight thing on CNN. I'm going to do it, I think, in the next few weeks. It's just like, it is a little late. I try not to be up that late if I can avoid it, but it seems like it could be funny. Maybe I'll be on there like with Scott Jennings, or who knows who they'll match me up with, but I'll let everybody know when that's going to happen. Jesper says, is it bad that all I want is a fuming Trump? Well, I expect that it's going to be a tough night for Donald Trump. Let's see if he's added anything here to his Truth Social posting. No, nothing since a couple hours ago. So we're gonna keep an eye on that. Other super chats. Lisa Brock says, not good for Donald Trump is music to my ears. Here's another $5. Thanks, Lisa. June says, if Trump wants a third term, get Obama on the ballot too. I should just mention, for people who don't know the origins of Obama, this is it. This is where Obama came from.
Ted doesn't win, your Second Amendment's going to be in trouble. Big trouble. Remember that. O'Rourke voted against the border wall. Oh, that's a good thing to him. He voted against Kate's law, and he voted for Obama amnesty. Amnesty, Obama amnesty.
Oh, the disorientation on his face when he says it. It's like his brain betrayed his mouth. And it all went crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. I'm being told that we have Pennsylvania numbers, and I do want to see that. Let's refresh here. New York. Let's get down to Oh, wait. Oh, I don't have that on this page. Let me see. More. Let's see. Here it is. Pennsylvania Supreme Court retained Kevin Dougherty, Christine Donahue, and David Wecht, all leading significantly, but very, very small percentage of the vote counted so far. All right, so we're going to keep an eye on that. But look at the Mickey Sherrill, folks. This Mickey Sherrill result over Schitterelli, she's almost doubling his vote. I cannot, this is only 16% of the vote counted. I cannot imagine that it stays as this big of a blowout. These are stunning numbers early out of New Jersey. And I found her impressive. She was on the show, answered. We talked about housing. She was specific when can you imagine specific? That's what we want. She was very specific about housing, and we're going to watch that very closely. Now it's 17% of the vote, and she is winning by 26 points, 26.1 points. That is brutal. And we are now just 45 minutes away from the results out of New York starting to come in. So I think that is going to be very, very interesting. As you can see here in the top left of your screen, Pennsylvania vote counting is happening. Presumably, if there are to be massive dumps, we will see them on video. Top right of the screen is the Mamdani campaign rally. Bottom left is Abigail Spanberger's campaign event location. And lower right is Winsome Earl Sears's campaign rally, which is going to be a concession speech, hopefully sooner than later. Did I say Mickey Sherrill? If I did, I know it's Mikey Sherrill. I apologize. People are saying I mispronounced it. That is my mistake. I know that it's Mikey Sherrill. I might have wrongly said Mickey in a moment of passion and exuberance. Other super chats that are coming in here. Delaney says, I volunteered at our polling station in Virginia. They kept us busy all day. Yep. Andrew says, make Obama a ringtone.
Obama.
I really should. That I think would be really good. Wow. 18. So here, the way that this works is the 30. Oh, wait, no, now it's 30. 27. With 18% in and a 27-point lead for Mikey Sherrill, it's starting to get out of reach. Now, I know that there's still a lot of the vote to count, but you start doing the math. Of the remaining vote, Schiaparelli has to win an overwhelming amount. So it's going to start to get out of reach relatively quickly. Camus says Schiaparelli BTFO. Exactly. Absolutely right. That was my thought. All right, folks, we are raising money here. We are raising money so quickly to feed hungry people that I'm going to have to take out my calculator. Sean Moriarty just signed up at $4.50 a month. All of that $4.50 goes to feed people. Lisa Rader just signed up at $4.50. Adam Curran for $100 for the year. Steve Martin, I wonder if it's that Steve Martin, $7. Matthew Largent, $10 a month. John Calvin, $45 for the year. And Daniel, $7. This puts our total fundraising plus 32.23 at 3401, meaning we have now funded 34,010 meals. If you're wondering what's going on, we are raising money because of what's going on with SNAP, because of people experiencing food insecurity. We're raising money for Feeding America. It's an excellent charity. They send the money to local food banks where it is most needed. Anybody who signs up on my website, joinpacman.com, anybody who gets a Substack premium subscription, we are donating the entire first payment to Feeding America. We are going to keep a tally of what's going on, and I hope that these numbers grow. We are now at $3,400. Great to see. Stephen says, David, I published a book this year on Trump's rhetoric called Arnold Palmer's Dick. I think you'd like it. Is there a way I could send you a few copies? You know, there isn't, Stephen. I am not accepting anything. I'm like Ringo Starr with peace and love, no more things in the mail. We are not accepting things in the mail, so I cannot accept it. But if you want to email a PDF, feel free. Gabagool says the New Jersey numbers are looking good. They are looking very good. Let's get updated data here. So we've basically got a fifth of the vote in, and Mikey Sherrill has expanded her lead to 28.1. Folks, I am almost ready to call it, and I don't know a damn thing about math. You know how Trump does the weave and he says things by instinct? By instinct, I'm getting ready to call New Jersey governor. It's not there yet, but there's just a sense that with a fifth of the vote counted and she's leading by 28, it will soon be completely out of reach for Schiaparelli. Let's see here. John says live streams are the best. Appreciate that, John. Good to see you. John says Pennsylvania voter turnout tonight looked like a normal election night. Hope it pans out well. Earth's Geomancer says, who is Schiaparelli? Jack Sittarelli. We're just kind of saying Schiaparelli today. I don't know the proper pronunciation, so we're going with that. Is the YouTube channel okay? Yeah, the YouTube channel's fine. The YouTube channel has more subscribers than ever, which is amazing. And if you're just joining, by the way, make sure to like the stream on YouTube. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It costs nothing, and it tells YouTube, send people to David. And everybody's welcome here, even the MAGAs, who I'd be glad to maybe talk to some of them soon. We might open the phones. Let me see what else we've got going on here. I want to listen to a little bit of analysis of what's going on here. Let's see. Is there live audio? Interesting. See here.
Trends are you seeing there in New Jersey?
Yeah, we're back with these bubbles, which show how much of the vote is still outstanding. With Sherrill up in it with a decent lead early on, we are seeing a lot of vote that's left in these bluer areas. Those are Democratic areas as well as Republican areas. Those are the big red dots. So it's hard to get a complete picture because in most of the places so far, we don't have all of the vote in, and there's a mixture of vote types. And I want to just remind people about the swings in this state and why it makes a projection particularly perilous this early in the night. Phil Murphy only only won this state by 3 points in his re-election bid, and Jack Ciattarelli came very, very close. And
he just said Ciattarelli. Maybe that is the pronunciation.
He was able to shift significant points of the state to the right. Early indications so far seem to be that there's a little bit more going back to the Democrats. And Mikey Sherrill, with the lead she has right now, has to be a little bit optimistic about.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is over. Decision Desk HQ has called it for Mikey Sherrill. But where is it? Oh, God, where is it? Oh, hold on a second. Here it is. There it is. It is over, ladies and gentlemen. 2 of the 4 races, MAGA has fallen. It is over. My intuition was right. It was getting very close to callable. Wow. Mikey Sherrill closing. I'm stunned, folks. It's 8:21. It's 21 minutes after 8, and it is over for Ciattarelli. Wow. Wow. I'm verklempt. I really am. Other super chats coming in. Oh boy, what's going on here? David, great moves. Keep it up. Proud of you. Thank you, Throst. How to contribute if you're already a member? Maybe set up a GoFundMe. Here's how you contribute. If you're already a member on my website, get a Substack premium membership or gift some memberships on my website. That's the way to do it. David, can you explain how $1 can purchase 10 meals? Thanks. Yes, I will explain that. What Feeding America does is they buy huge amounts of food in bulk, and then they essentially break that down. And they are buying so much food that on a per weight basis, it's 10 cents per meal. Now, literally, some meals cost more than that, but because of the bulk purchase of food, it is incredibly efficient for them to do it. They have a page. If you look at Feeding America, how can $1 fund 10 meals? Here it is, and I will show you this. Manufacturers and retailers donate food that would go to waste. Partners donate truckloads of food they're unable to sell. This is like a highly efficient operation, and this is how they're able to get the costs that low. That's the answer. You can read more about it. Okay, other super chats. Let's go, Mikey. Can't have a mayor that bends the knee to a dictator. Oh boy, hold on. Assuming Sherrill resigns from Congress, does that remove a vote from the Epstein files until the seat is filled again? Yeah, but the governor's going to fill that very quickly. Oh, wait, hold on. In Jersey, does the governor in New Jersey who selects open house seats? It is the governor, right? Yeah, I think it is. I don't want to be wrong in case it's different in Jersey, but I believe that it is. Yeah. You can give a Pac-Man membership gift. Yes. Thanks, Joe. Quinn says, hope tonight goes better than last time I watched one of your election live streams. So far, so good. Love your work, David. Good to see you, Quinn. Always good to see you. Earth's Geomancer wants one more Obama.
Obama.
Norp says you were pronouncing it correctly. Ciattarelli. It's not Shitterelli. It's Ciattarelli. All right. Good. David, can you turn your mic audio up 10%? You have hair sticking out to the side. Yeah. My haircut is at a weird moment where I can't really control it. So that's just going to be what it is. And then can I turn my mic volume up? Let me see here. We're kind of maxed out. Oh, I can do some gain. Let's do like 4 dBs of gain. Tell me if that's better, okay? Sarah says, I went through the sad presidential. Now this, I think it's going to be a tradition for me. Thanks. Well, thank you. Great to have you here. There are so many of these that I have to like scroll carefully. David, sir, with tears in my eyes, I have to report YouTube hides you from me. I had to search this stream, but I listen daily on Spotify. Yeah, listen, there are constant algorithmic issues with YouTube. We really can't do anything other than please subscribe, like the videos you see, and leave comments. Like that, literally, that's all we can do, and just wait for YouTube to put us back in its good graces. It's literally all we can do. I wish I had more, but there isn't. Other super chats. Wanna drop a torch down the pit says, thanks for not wearing the teddy bear sweater. I love you. Thanks for doing a great job. Well, I wore the sweater 2 days ago, so I got to rotate it, you know? David, I voted blue in New Jersey. So happy for Mikey and blue voters. I attended that rally on Saturday. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Jordan says, are you donating super chat money to Feeding America? We are not. And the reason why is YouTube takes a sizable cut. That money takes like 50 days to get to us. It's just overly complicated. So we're not. Willie says, love everything you do. Found the Destiny versus PragerU founder debate super interesting. Would you want to bring Destiny back on for another debate? We're not really doing debates per se. And part of it is a conscious decision that I'm kind of like being pushed away from the rage bait debate bro stuff because I think that it is not the best thing. So I'm not against it in principle, but we're not really doing that right now. Pam says, miss being able to talk to you on Fridays. Happy to be here to celebrate the wins tonight, especially in New Jersey. Thanks, David. Well, thanks, Pam. Great to see you. If you are just joining us, we already have 2 major wins for the Democratic Party. Abigail Spanberger has flipped the red gubernatorial seat in Virginia with a sizable win over Winsome Earl Sears, a candidate who, quite frankly, seems to be in crisis. Every time I hear her speak, I think this is someone who needs help and should definitely not be the governor. And secondly, Mikey Sherrill, it has been called. And it's been called over here on, this is the wrong one. New Jersey. Here it is. Decision Desk has called Mikey Sherrill's race for governor. That would stay blue because Phil Murphy, who, by the way, is a fan of the show. Phil Murphy, governor of New Jersey, is a Democrat. Mikey Sherrill, Democrat. It would stay in Democratic hands. And what we are going to see next, we're a half hour from numbers starting to come in New York City for mayoral. And then later on in the night, California Prop 50, which I think there's a real chance it is a massive blowout. That is going to be a little bit later on in the night. Super chats continue to pour in. BM says Democrats need to accuse Donald Trump and Republicans based on the grave economic situation. There is no time to discuss ideologies. All right, let's check in with Steve Kornacki here. Uh-oh. I keep tuning in right when there's a break. Let me see if I can get the main NBC feed, which is not going silent in this same way. NBC Live. I believe that it is this one. Yeah.
Jackson, we've got a couple of questions.
Whoop, here we go. We'll put it over here. Let's see what we got here.
As you know, President Trump endorsed Andrew Cuomo overnight. Governor Cuomo telling me today he thinks, yes, that's going to earn him a few more of the Curtis Sliwa votes. Do you think that Mamdani can have a victory tonight?
Yes, Zoran's going to be the next mayor of the city of New York. He's run a relentlessly focused campaign on affordability. The cost of living is way too high in New York City, in the communities that I represent and all across the city of New York. That, in fact, is the case we know throughout the country. And, of course, Donald Trump has...
Hey, guys. Yeah, I just want to correct something. Mikey Sherrill already left Congress, so we don't have to worry about that. She's a former Congresswoman.
Costs up, childcare costs up, utility prices through the roof. And now, as we've been working our way through this Trump shutdown in Washington, D.C., Republicans want to increase health care premiums on tens of millions of Americans because of their refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credit. So I think Zoran's going to win, and it's going to be incumbent upon all of us in the city of New York to make sure that he is as successful a mayor as he can possibly be.
So, Leader Jeffries.
All right. Hakeem Jeffries with a very, very late endorsement of Zoran Mamdani. but now is confident he will win.
Those around him who think you're wrong on that, who think he potentially has real appeal beyond simply New York City. We could talk all day about how special and unique New York is. I get it. It's not a place where you necessarily will extrapolate nationally if you're a Democrat. But can you talk a little bit more about that piece of it and what through lines you see now that you might be talking with your conference about come 2026 ahead of the midterms? If, you've seen already Abigail Spanberger sail to a win, if Mamdani comes out big in New York, if Mikey Sherrill's able to pull it out in Jersey.
Well, it's my expectation that Mikey Sherrill is going to be the next governor of the state of New Jersey, that we're going to win the statewide races.
It's been called. I don't think we're that into hearing necessarily what Hakeem Jeffries has to say, so we're going to get away from that. I am being told that there is another result here, which is that, hold on, where is it here? Yes, it is. Jay Jones, the Democrat, has defeated incumbent Jason Miyares to be the next Attorney General of Virginia. This is particularly interesting because Jay Jones had a controversy where there were text messages in which he expressed a desire to kill Republican politicians in the state of Virginia. And despite that, Virginians saying, we don't want the incumbent, we don't want the Republican. This is genuinely a big deal. And it's a big deal because for a state that is as 50-50 as Virginia, to say we'd rather the guy who was issuing death threats than the incumbent Republican really could say a lot about the direction that this is going. So that is a very, very interesting result. And next, we will be looking at New York City mayoral. In just 28 minutes, we are expecting results there. And I know that it is titillating and exciting for a lot of people in my audience, and we are going to be watching all of it extraordinarily closely. Not everybody is calling yet, but Decision Desk HQ has called it. They are trustworthy. I don't remember them having to take any results back, so I believe that it is over. I believe that it is absolutely over. 2 out of 4. This is a very bad night for Donald Trump and MAGA. Let's see if Donald Trump has posted any unhinged screeds to Truth Social as this has been developing. No. The last one was still a couple of hours ago. All right, we will be monitoring that extraordinarily closely. Other super chats that are coming in. Let's see what else we have here. Oh boy, these are coming in so quickly that I've got to scroll up. Thurston says, I'm hoping to relocate to another country. Any country you would recommend? I am fond of Portugal. Yeah, Portugal's great. If it were me, I would look at Spain because I speak Spanish and have some family there. But Portugal is a great place. The thing is, I could just throw out countries, but it's not easy to necessarily move to any country. So you've got to look at where could I actually move to. Deb says, watching from Canada, you're awesome. Keeping fingers crossed for Mamdani. He's a light your country needs. Wrong your, Deb. That's the wrong your. We don't like that. Are Super Chats donations as well? No, Sarah, they are not. I explained that earlier, that it takes 50 days to get that money and YouTube takes 30%. So we're doing something a little more direct. Does gifting memberships in chat go to Feeding America? No, it is website memberships and Substack premium memberships that go to Feeding America. I should mention one thing. Substack offers paid memberships for free to random people that are just on our Substack. And I think it's around 1%. So you can also donate to Feeding America for free. You're basically forcing Substack to donate. If you get on my free Substack, just like get on my newsletter, some of those people are going to get random free paid memberships. And then that money is going to go to Feeding America. So make sure you're getting my free Substack. Let's update our numbers because people have been signing up like there is no tomorrow here. Nancy Dean got a $100 yearly membership. Thanks, Nancy. Brett Turner used a coupon code and got $1.75 a month. Cool. Stephen Tramitz, $100 yearly. Laura Kiffer, $31. Andreas Kick is in for $10. Charlotte's in for $10. Jonathan's in for $100. Tyler Renberg, $100. Janine, $315. Carol, $45. Todd Brualdi for $7. Edward Held's in for $100. Folks, we're about to do some serious donations here. Gerald Govia, $4.50. Robert Dollins in for $100. Stephen Huber. And finally, Faith Porter and Christian Mara. Hold on. These are coming in almost faster than I can tally them. Faith Portser, $7. So that's another $735. Hold on now. And that puts us, dear God, this is taking a while to calculate. That puts us at 41. Hold on, 41. I'm sorry. 4136. Oh boy. 4136, meaning 41,360. I don't even know the number of memberships. We're going to get rid of that. I can't even keep up with that. I just can't even keep up with that. All right. We've raised over 4,000 for Feeding America, which will donate to people with food insecurity. Every website membership counts. Every Substack premium membership. Good. Let's get back to Steve Kornacki. No, he's not doing it right now. Okay. If you're just joining us, we are moments away from the first results coming in from New York City's mayoral election, which I think is really going to be something. Of the two races that have been called so far, both are wins for Democrats, losses for Republicans, and certainly at some point tonight, we are going to see, I would expect, some kind of tantrum from Donald Trump. Not yet, but probably soon. Greetings from Social Democratic Vienna, Austria, says Matt Moore. Thanks, David, for superb reporting. Great to hear from you, Matt. Always good to have you here. Quinn says, I live in San Francisco, but spent a lot of time in Central California recently, as well as phone banking for Prop 50. There is a lot of people resistant, but I'm cautiously optimistic. It's polling very well. It's polling very well. Dollar Dude says, where did Dollar Dude go? I lost it. Dollar Dude says, Jeffrey seems like he's endorsing Mamdani under duress, like it causes him physical pain to do so. Jordan says, U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 4. When vacancies happen in the representation from any state, the executive authority thereof shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies. Got it. So the governor always chooses. Salazar says, best of luck to your country from Canada. Thank you. Sarah says, it's my Aunt Marilyn's 71st birthday. I've been a member for a year, and I put her onto your show and book. She loves the show because of your honesty and coverage on what is happening. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sarah. And say hi to Aunt Marilyn. We love Aunt Marilyn. David, do you remember Uncharged Pickles? The good old days. Glad to see you live. Website member since 2020. Thank you. I appreciate that. And hi there. My name is Challenger. I want to say thank you and Brian Tyler Cohen for speaking the truth, the voice of truth and etiquette of government and love of all people. Thank you. Going to see Brian this weekend. Going to see Aaron Parnas and Suzanne Lambert and Jack Cocherella, Harry Sisson. Going to see a lot of great people this weekend. Very much looking forward to it. Deb caught her grammatical mistake. Do you like the Argentine music group Paco and Cody? I'm not familiar with that group. And okay, we are caught up there, and we are imminently going to get additional voting numbers. Spanberger won, Cheryl won, even though NPR hasn't called it, Decision Desk has. Top of the hour, 20 minutes to go. New York City mayoral will close, and we are going to start getting that data. Let's hear from Abigail Spanberger.
Thank you. I thank you for the trust that you have placed in me, and it is the honor of my lifetime to be elected the 75th governor of the Commonwealth.
What a day.
I would like to thank my opponent for a hard-fought race, The Lieutenant Governor's story, her military service, and her years of service here in Virginia deserve our respect and our gratitude, and I ask that you join me in wishing her and her family well.
Polite.
I also know that those who were supporting my opponent are disappointed today. And to those Virginians who did not vote for me, I want you to know that my goal and my intent is to serve all Virginians. And that means that I will listen to you, I will work for you and with you. That is the approach that I've taken throughout my entire career. I have worked with anyone and everyone, regardless of political party, to deliver results for the people that I serve. And that's because I believe in this idea that there is so much more that unites us as Virginians and as Americans than divides us. And I know in my heart that we can unite for Virginia's future, and we can set an example for the rest of the nation.
It's a clean sweep so far, 2 in Virginia and 1 in New Jersey for Democrats.
They didn't choose to call Virginia a commonwealth by accident. They chose it to signify that our government would be based on the power of the people united.
And there we have Spanberger introducing herself to her fans there, to her people who voted for her and got her over the line to become the next governor of Virginia, saying, tonight we sent a message to every corner of the Commonwealth.
All right. And I kind of am interested in hearing what else she says.
Every sense of the word. We are built on the things we share, not the things that pull us apart. And I am proud that our campaign earned votes from Democrats, Republicans, independents, and everyone in between. That's the Virginia I know, that's the Virginia I love, and that's the Virginia I will have the honor of serving as your next governor. I want to thank so many people for the support that they have given to our campaign. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your support. To our tireless volunteers, to those who believed in me, thank you. Thank you for devoting your time, your energy, and your conviction to this campaign. Thank you for braving the weather, the heat, and then the cold, and then the rain, and then the sun. It's Virginia after all. Thank you. Thank you for talking to your neighbors about the importance of this race. Thank you for recognizing that when we went person to person engaging, that we could bring people not just into supporting our campaign, but into engaging in our democracy. Thank you. We won this race because of you. To our campaign team, you're the best in the country.
All right, everybody, it's quarter of. If you're joining us, this is the victory speech from Abigail Spanberger, who was the first to be declared a winner tonight. Democrat taking a Republican-held governor's seat in Virginia. Jay Jones has also won in Virginia for attorney general, despite text messages where he was threatening to kill people. They dislike the Republican guy so much that Jones still won. Mikey Sherrill will be the next governor of New Jersey, another win for Democrats. And we are now just 15 minutes from the first results in the New York City mayoral race, a race that will be about who will govern the 8 million in New York City, but that could potentially have statewide or even national implications. And then later, Prop 50, it is looking very bad for MAGA. It's looking very bad for Trump. I would expect him. People are talking. I would never say, people are in the chat going, Trump's going to fill his diaper. That's so crass. I would never say something like that. I would only mention that others are saying it, and there are people in the chat saying that. But Trump is not going to be happy. Let's put it that way.
To my husband, Adam. My partner in everything, I love you with my whole heart. I am grateful for you. And it is very strange to declare my love for you in front of millions of people. But every adventure we have ever been on has been worth it because you have been by my side. I love you. I'm grateful for you. And I cannot wait to see what the next couple of years bring.
Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger, the first woman governor-elect of Virginia, delivering her victory speech in front of a crowd of cheering supporters. Hallie Jackson, she talked about the fact that her campaign sent a message to the Commonwealth of Virginia. We chose the Commonwealth over chaos, she says, lowering costs, keeping our community safe, decency and determination. But at the center of that message.
Right. 13 minutes until the next poll closures. That will be New York City. I know many anxiously awaiting those results, and we are going to start getting those very, very soon. What a night. This, am I crazy, or does this doesn't feel like a presidential election night, but it almost feels like a midterm, even though these are just off-year elections. These usually get very little attention, but people seem engaged. People seem to be paying attention. There seems to be a lot riding on these, and I think the implications are significant here going forward. And I believe Kankel's Caligula is not going to like this. That is absolutely the case. All right, as we await those next numbers, I do want to take a look at some of the other super chats, and I apologize that I've missed some of them. East Side says, I'm from New Jersey. Let's go. Person says the Republicans are scared of a blue wave. Soda Popper says, good morning from Tokyo, David. Thanks for everything. Great to hear from you. Dr. Diane Bublak has sent a $50 super chat. I appreciate that. Miles voted blue in Jersey. We're from Jersey, baby. Super Nintendo Chalmers says somebody called JP Mandel. Hold on, here it is.
We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel.
Exactly. Cindy says, I've been flipping around to various channels tonight, but I am parking it here. You do it better than anyone. Thanks for your engaging coverage. Cindy, it's so great to have you here. Very much appreciate it. If you are just joining us or if you've been watching for a while, please do make sure you have liked the stream. It makes it more likely YouTube will recommend it to others. And if you aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel, it does cost nothing. I'm selling you nothing but a good time. So make sure you've hit that subscribe button. Heather's watching from Australia. What it must be like 9:49 a.m. in Australia. Wednesday morning maybe or something like that. Delaney, good night, David. Frank is a DC 37 delegate voting for change. Go Mamdani. Charles Baker, this goes to feeding hungry Americans, right? Website memberships and Substack premium memberships do. And Jewel says, love your show, Mr. Pacman. Very much appreciate it. Great to have everybody here. Really appreciate all of those folks. Okay, let's take a look at the final numbers before polls close in New York. Spanberger currently plus 11. That is even the margin of victory in Virginia, a state that is often 50-50. How much did Glenn Youngkin win by? Glenn Youngkin election results. In 2021, Youngkin won by 1.85%. For Spanberger potentially to win by 11 is massive. Now, there's still 32% of the vote to count, but this is like the significance of going from Republican +3 to Democrat +11 in a state that sometimes votes for Democrats, sometimes votes for Republicans is massive, 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 massive. Meanwhile, in New Jersey, so far, a huge win for Mikey Sherrill. Let me look at Phil Murphy election results back in 2021. In 21, oh, wow. Murphy won by 3.2 in 2021. Again, it's still early. 68% of the vote is still to be counted, but Murphy won by 3. Sherrill's winning by 18. I expect it to tighten. The question is by how much? I don't know. It could be a massive, massive victory. This is about 2026. That's really why these margins matter. Oh, there's just these few elections. Fine. But these margins are indicative of a real problem, a real problem for Republicans potentially forthcoming here. These would be unheard of gubernatorial victory numbers in Virginia and New Jersey if they hold. That's an if. We've still got a while to go. Sarah says, we are all hoping Trump and the regime will end. It's been nothing but stress. I was going to start my own business. Trump winning the race postponed that until things change. Jewel just gifted 20 memberships on YouTube. We read that one already. Big Dog says Democrats are bad at messaging. They need to bring up the kitchen table issues instead of focusing on rage bait social issues. That's how you get to people. Cole says, hello from San Diego. What's your favorite burrito in California? I have no idea. I mean, do burritos have names? I've been to a lot of burrito places, but I don't know what the name of it is. Richard says, big, beautiful blue sweep. Charles says, hit the like button, y'all. Get David into right-wing algorithm. Yeah, it is true that when live streams hit critical mass, they start to be fed to right-wingers, which will just mean right-wingers are going to come in here and be highly triggered by the results. And that's going to be tough for them. So let's do that. Let's make sure you're liking the stream and hitting the subscribe button on the basis of that. Aaron says, so tired the direction this country's going. Nice to see the momentum being broken. We are exhausted by the insanities. Yeah, I had a really good Substack Live tonight earlier with Joyce Vance where we talked about the balance between being outraged at objectively outrageous things that are going on, and on the other hand, needing to take breaks for mental health. And she had a really great answer about how to balance those things. Check out the Substack Live with her. I think it was really good. Did I miss any others? No, I think we got all of the others here. I think we did. We are just minutes from the first results from New York City. Reports are that the results are going to come in relatively quickly. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I had another California video I wanted to show everybody. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, I lost it. And long story short, the turnout in California for Prop 50 seems off the charts for not a presidential election, not a midterm election, not a gubernatorial election, simply a ballot initiative. And it is really incredible to see the turnout that we are seeing there right now. Let's listen to a little bit of this coverage of the mayoral race. Results will be in 5 minutes.
Realize perhaps that experience trumps any sort of idealism that Zoran Mamdani has been projecting. Of course, he has a lot of fanfare, as you mentioned, but also he has captivated the younger voters. Cuomo, in the later stages of his campaign, really in the last several weeks, was trying to impress voters with his experience, saying that that would be best for New York City. Lindsay?
Of course, we've talked about how he did get endorsed by President Trump. He kind of tried to shy away from that, suggesting only that he's saying a vote for Curtis Sliwa is a vote for Mamdani. Give us a sense with regard to getting over the finish line for Andrew Cuomo. At this point, does he really need that Republican vote?
Probably.
Absolutely, he needs the Republican vote. And if you are a Republican with a big R, you might be voting for Curtis Sliwa because you vote down the party line. And perhaps Trump was going to change some voters' minds who might have normally voted Republican just with the party, suggesting they vote with Cuomo instead. But Cuomo certainly needs the Republicans to get over the finish line.
Lauren Glassberg for us at Cuomo headquarters. Thanks so much. Coming up, the polls are about to close here in New York City, where all eyes are on the race to become the next mayor.
All right, moments away from the first numbers from New York City. It is happening imminently. Super chats continue to come in. Joseph says, carne asada burrito, only correct answer. All right. Aaron says, so tired of the direction this country is going in. It's nice to see the momentum being broken. We're just exhausted by the insanity. Absolutely. Okay, I think I'm caught up on super chats, actually. All right. I'm told that there are some additional results here. Let's take a look. Any second, we're going to get those mayoral results. Actually, let's look at this view full results thing. Oh, it's not really any different. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. The Virginia is essentially done for here. Jay Jones has defeated the incumbent attorney general. Virginia will now have a Democratic attorney general. Abigail Spanberger has defeated Winsome Earl Sears and is taking a red seat, and it will now be a Democratic governor in Virginia. The lieutenant governor race has been called. Ghazala Hashmi has defeated Republican John Reed. And that is everything there in terms of statewide. We then have the New Jersey numbers. Mikey Sherrill winning brutally. I mean, this is a drubbing in New Jersey over Jack Schitarelli. We also, that's the race there. And then Prop 50, yes and no. Those numbers are going to start coming in a little later. So New York City mayoral is the big thing. We are just moments away from those numbers starting to come in. So this is really a perfect time to be here if that is the race that you are most interested in, which I know many of you are. We seem to be having something kind of happened here with the super chats where they froze. They glitched. I think I'm going to see if I can get those back up and running. It's really weird, though. I'll have to work on that. I don't know what happened to the super chats. They glitched and went away. Let's see if we can just refresh that and get those back up and running. I apologize about that. I know that there are super chats coming in and that they are not yet visible, but we're just going to reboot that as we are just, strange movie preview there. We are just moments away from the New York results.
After Jones apologized for violent messages he sent about Republican lawmakers back in 2022. Joining me now is NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach at Miares' headquarters. What is the mood there? Because this is one of the races that Republicans feel as though they can hold on to. He is the incumbent candidate. How are they feeling there, Gary?
Yeah, there's a real feeling of disappointment from the folks that I've talked to here at the watch party. It's sort of dwindling. Folks are drinking, folks are eating. But yeah, this is a race that they thought they could pull out, and that is because of this big scandal with Jay Jones. But if you look at the vote, it is a very close race right now.
There we go. We are a minute from New York results here. Spencer says, thanks for everything you do. How fast will the race get called for Mamdani? I have no idea. We're going to see momentarily. Whitney is cheering the blue wave. You missed NoHo is like a mini New York City. Thanks, DP, coming from the Superstition Mountains of Arizona. Quid pro Cuomo, get the F out. This gives me hope for midterms. People energized by this, energized. David, if the Dems do too well, there's no chance there's a midterm in 26, right? Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that for sure. Let's see now what initial data we have from New York City.
There's work to do behind the scenes here, Kristen.
All right, Gary, thank you so much. We'll continue to watch that race very closely. As you say, it is too close to call at this point. And it is now just after 9 p.m. Eastern, and polls have just closed in the race for New York City mayor. The NBC Decision Desk characterizing that contest as too early to call. This race has thrust 34-year-old Democratic socialist Zoran Mamdani into the national spotlight after he ran a fiercely anti-Trump campaign that also focused on economic issues and affordability. President Trump has threatened to cut off funding to the city if Mamdani wins. Moving to Virginia, NBC News can project that Democrat Abigail Spanberger has won the governor.
All right, so nobody is making any calls yet, but let's see what sort of data we are starting to get in. It should be in momentarily. So far, it is still all zeros on NPR, and zeros over on the Associated Press. But any second now, we are going to get our first numbers out of New York City. And we will see, I mean, to a great degree, what a lot of people have been waiting for. In the meantime, I will mention, we have raised over $4,300 for feeding hungry people. This funds over, hold on, I have a digit wrong. I've got a wrong digit here. This is over 43,000 meals. We are trying to do something about the SNAP benefits, people with food insecurity, etc. We are donating all first membership payments on my website or on my Substack this month to Feeding America. It is an extremely efficient food and hunger charity where 98% of everything that they get in goes back out for benefits. We have raised $4,300 and provided over 43,000 meals. You can sign up at joinpacman.com, substack.davidpacman.com. We're trying to do something about a problem that we see in the country right now, as the polls have indeed closed in New York City. And we just don't know, when are we going to get those first numbers? 0% still reporting, but it is likely to be any second now. Everybody is watching those extraordinarily closely. And any second, I believe we are going to have some results there. Super Chats says PBS has results coming in. All right, PBS election results. Let's take a look here. Is it video or is it, let's see, live update? Or I don't know if people mean PBS video or a PBS election platform. New York City mayoral. Oh, they've got some numbers. Let's take a look. Here is, I think we're going to go, I don't think we need Virginia here anymore. All right, here are initial numbers with 36%, folks, it's almost over. With 36% of the vote counted, Mamdani 51, Cuomo 39, Sliwa 8. This is exactly what the polling said. This is essentially exactly what the polling said. So the numbers are starting to come in. As of this moment, even with all of Sliwa's votes, Cuomo would not actually have enough. So the current state of the numbers undercut the claim that Sliwa is the spoiler. Because according to this is just the current state, it's only 36%. According to this, even if Sliwa dropped out, endorsed Cuomo, and Cuomo got every one of his votes, Cuomo would only have 389,000 votes right now, 390,000. To Mamdani's 422,000. So right now, that the spoiler argument doesn't even really work. Okay, we are going to continue monitoring those numbers. Welcome to everybody who is joining us. It is an incredible night where Republicans so far seem to be winning nothing. I mean, just nothing. They're not even getting the scraps off of Donald Trump's table, that tough, well-done steak that he loves. They're not even getting that. Rusty Lewis wants some fresh viewer songs. People have got to send in new songs if they want them, because I have no new songs lately. All right, here is the data now with, let's see what percentage this has. It says 0, but obviously that math doesn't math. These are the latest results out of New York, and it has been called. Decision Desk has called it for Mamdani. It is over. It is another loss for Donald Trump. Another loss for Donald Trump. And this is shaping up to be a brutal 2026 for Republicans. And we are looking forward to seeing that. Adam says, David, are you concerned that Zohran's anti-Israel rhetoric may cross a line towards bigotry? Of course. I mean, you all know me. Intifada is a violent thing. You know, the whole globalize the Intifada thing. To me, it's like saying globalize Kristallnacht. But people get to choose whatever they want, right? Of course, I'm concerned with that. Mayors, I don't think, should really be doing foreign policy. I would rather mayors not even be asked about foreign policy. And when you look at, I mean, listen, Cuomo, Sliwa, it's obvious why Mamdani was able to catalyze. And, you know, I think that a lot of voters, quite frankly, don't care about globalize the Intifada. Of course, it's a concern. But there is a new direction here in the Democratic Party that is at least being tested in New York City. And voters get their say, right? I mean, Trump's now going to try to militarize and do all of this stuff. I interviewed Mamdani yesterday. He said he's ready for that. He is going to, he says he's ready to resist. And we will see. We will see how that happens. But voters get to choose what they want. What they've been getting hasn't been working. And now we are going to get an opportunity to see, what do Republicans do, put in a position where they are losing everything. They're just losing everything. And what is Trump going to do in this panic to try to save his presidency? Because under tonight's results go to the longevity and success of Trump's presidency in the following way. Tonight's results are a signal. They're not proof, but they're a signal about 2026. 2026, if Democrats take the House, means Trump gets nothing for the rest of his presidency. And he is then, if he survives until the 2028 election, going to be in the position of having to crown someone the heir apparent to MAGA, probably J.D. Vance, although we don't necessarily know at this point in time, with 2 years of having accomplished nothing. So tonight is about 26, and tonight is about 28. Other super chats coming in. Ted Mack says, I want to commend you. Your intelligence is refreshing and encouraging. Politics, economics, you deserve much success. Thank you for what you do. Ted, that's a very nice message, and I really appreciate it. Very, very much appreciate that message. Okay. Other messages coming in. Oh, we should check. Yeah, we should check whether Trump is ranting on Truth Central. No, Trump remarkably quiet still on Truth Social, as he is losing just about everything, really losing just about everything here. And it is remarkable stuff. Angel says, holding my breath here in LA regarding Proposition 50. Thanks for all you do, David. I watch your channel daily. I appreciate that, Angel. Great to have you here. Let's see if we can hear a little bit more.
You can expect this to be a Cuomo jurisdiction tonight, but let's take a look here in Manhattan. And Mamdani leading here by 8 points, 40% of the vote counted. Cuomo, I think, was hoping to do very well. Upper West Side, maybe Upper East Side in particular, Cuomo was hoping to do particularly well. Bronx, I want to see, because this is interesting. We got about a quarter of the vote in the Bronx. Cuomo's folks have been hoping to do well here. Turnout, the question also was going to be maybe lower here. I think we're certainly seeing that, 28%. Take a look at Queens. if Cuomo's going to have a chance tonight, he's going to want to win Queens. Queens is where his family is from originally.
It's funny because Kornacki's acting like it hasn't already been called on other networks.
But you can see that's Queens. Now take a look over in Brooklyn. And Brooklyn is sort of the epicenter of Mamdani's movement here. Again, we talk about that age divide here. You know, neighborhoods in Brooklyn, there are some of them on the waterfront. This is the East River right here. There are some of them in Queens, but there's a lot in Brooklyn, you know, with a lot of younger voters, college-educated voters, sort of progressive, very politically engaged voters who've sort of been the backbone of this Mamdani effort. And so he's running up the score most here in Brooklyn. And again, yes, Staten Island is gray. It's gray because it's Cuomo. It makes sense. I'm looking at it like you are, saying, why isn't Staten Island on there? Oh, man, we chose a very confusing color here to use. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes so much more. I'm trying to figure this out in my head as we go through it. Why would Staten Island not report with the entire city? It did report. Cuomo's winning it. Slee was in second place here. I mean, this is the most Republican-friendly by far. So, again, that actually clarifies the picture again. We're not waiting on a piece of the mail in the early vote that would make this closer. We have the mail vote. We have the early vote. Most of the mail vote. We have the early vote. And this is the gap that Andrew Cuomo's looking at. And, you know, again, this is, okay, we've got some same-day report now. And I'm going to ask, my producer's going to keep tabs on this. Now that we have the benchmark of that early vote, what clip is Cuomo winning, or what is he getting as the same day comes in? Because he's got to win it. He's got to win it by double digits. That would give him a chance here against Mamdani.
Yeah, I understand that until your network calls it, I guess you pretend like it's still a race. But this race has been called. So it's interesting that Kornacki is just kind of going forward as if that's not the case.
To surge in this campaign.
He became a U.S. citizen just in 2018 when Trump was serving as president during his first term. Aaron Katersky, thanks so much. Joining us now is John Katko, ABC News political contributor and former New York Republican congressman. Your thoughts on Zoran Mamdani?
Well, I think that when you listen to Andrew Cuomo, for example, a Democrat who is running against him, he expresses concerns about his far-left leanings. And that is something that's going to be a big issue.
I kind of don't care what this former Republican state senator has to say. I'm finding myself not really caring about it. Here is reporting from, I believe this must be Mamdani's headquarters or rally site.
The age for the early vote was 51, which theoretically would trend toward Cuomo, and yet that big dump still showed about an 11 or 12% advantage for Mamdani, although I know it's tightened a little bit since then. I'm going to hit you with a couple of other data points, and it's important to note this comes before President Trump's endorsement of Andrew Cuomo at the 11th hour, or like at the 6 or 7 o'clock hour last night, which is that when you dig into a lot of these polls, they show incredible enthusiasm for Zoran Mamdani. I'm thinking of the Quinnipiac poll right now. The voters were asked, how enthusiastic, excited are you about the candidate? More than 90% were enthusiastic about Mamdani. Under 70% were enthusiastic about Cuomo. For favorability, Mamdani was about a +5, +10. Cuomo was underwater at a -20. If I gave you all that information, Kristen, and then I told you that the New York City Board of Elections just reported 2 million votes cast so far in this, which is a figure that has not been seen in a mayoral race since the 1960s, when like 80-some-odd% of people were actually going out to vote.
I've got a clip of Hannity reporting on the situation. I'm kind of curious. Let's just take a listen to what Hannity had to say.
And welcome to Hannity. Tonight we begin with this Fox News alert. It is 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 6 p.m. out on the West Coast. The polls are now officially closed in New York City. Did the commie win? Anyway, according to the AP, it is the biggest turnout for a New York City mayoral race in 30 whopping years. Democratic candidate Zoran, as we affectionately call him, Comrade Marxist Mamdani, is leading in his race against former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who is running as an independent on the second line of the ballot. Another question we'll get to. The question is this high turnout election, whether Republican Curtis Sliwa, what impact may he make?
What on earth? Hannity's totally mushmouth. He doesn't even know what's going on. He's just like trying to put together words as quickly as he can. All right. I realize I've been missing some of these super chats, and I do want to get to them. Lancy Pelosi says, David, your temperament has helped a lot with the psychological effects of my media consumption. Thank you for your astute analysis. Thank you. David Fox says, Brooklyn guy enjoying my popcorn and quite happy. Ethan says, also with Democrats capturing the governorship and the AG's office in Virginia, that will be a big check on ICE raids and the weaponized Trump-Epstein DOJ right next to D.C. Very good point. Zeph says, what policy proposals is Mamdani most likely to pass? Quite frankly, I don't expect him to pass a single one. I mean, the things he's talking about are extraordinarily ambitious and not really even under the control of the mayor. I think that if he passes any of them, it will be major. I would be surprised if any of the big things pass. And I even spoke to him about that yesterday. But I'm excited to see whether he can do any of it. I think that'll be interesting to see. Eric says MAGA's hacking the super chats. All right. Peter Hubbard is up bigly for Georgia PSC. Bellwether vibes. I'm going to have to check into that. Andreas, do you have video of you walking behind Paula White speaking in tongues? I don't have it handy. Say a prayer for the victims of the UPS plane crash in Kentucky. I didn't hear about that. Not sure what's going on. Trollman here. No snap for my girlfriend, but doing fine. All right. Mary says, born and raised in New York, now living in Jersey. Go blue. Aaron says, Haley Schaffner, 2026. Cotton has to go. What do you think about the documental election in Tennessee? Congressional District 7. Dem nominee released polling in single digits. Not familiar with it, Jonathan. I'm going to have to look into that. Even without the House, Trump has executive orders. Chad says, Virginia voter here. So proud of my state. All right. And then we're caught up. Although there's a few others. Arthur says, been watching since 2020. Keep it up, David. Love it. Brett says, David, your hard work is noticed and greatly appreciated. I admire the effort and honesty you put into your content. You've offered even-keeled analysis that helps me make sense of these crazy times. Thanks, Brett. Appreciate that. It's refreshing to see people waking up. Keep up the great work, David, from your friends north of the border. Great to hear from you. Great to hear from so many people as we are standing by here, presumably for some kind of victory speeches. We have a situation where Decision Desk HQ has called the race already for Mamdani, whereas PBS has not, NPR has not, and the Associated Press has not. But we are monitoring it extraordinarily closely, and it has indeed been called. And I don't know if and when we are going to start hearing from candidates. If you're just joining us, so far, losses all the way down for Trump and MAGA. We're monitoring Trump's Truth Social to see if he puts out any diatribes or screeds. And he still has not, as of this moment, for several hours posted. We are presumably going to be getting more speeches. We might hear from Mikey Sherrill and maybe others. Jabo says, how about that blue wave, baby? Proud of everyone tonight. Maintain this momentum into 26 and beyond. Matthew says, thank you, David, for everything. Does this get donated to Feeding America? Obama. Okay, Obama. Super chats don't get donated. Okay, if you're just joining us, we have so far raised $4,500 for Feeding America, which is a great charity that works on hunger. We're trying to do something. Everybody that signs up on my website, joinpacman.com, your first payment gets donated to Feeding America. You sign up for a month, the payment gets donated. You sign up for a year, the payment gets donated. So far, we've funded 45,000 meals with $4,500 in donations raised. And also, anybody who signs up for my paid Substack, it will also count. I will get updated totals there. And if you're just joining us, please like the stream. Please make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. It is free. It is free, free, free. Do we have updates on Pennsylvania? That is a good question. Let's see if we do. Pennsylvania. Wait, which of my elements has Pennsylvania? Here we go. Pennsylvania Supreme Court. All 3 seats are still yes votes to retain those Supreme Court justices. They all have counted about 28% of the vote. Pennsylvania counts slowly. Pennsylvania counts slowly, that we know. And then the dumps come in, as Donald Trump told us. Okay. I think I might take my shirt off. Let me see if I can do this in a way that is appropriate. Now, obviously not my undershirt, guys. Everybody relax. It's just getting very, very warm here as the results come in. Let's see if we can. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, okay. I almost turned one of the lights off with my shirt. I think this will just be, I'm certainly more comfortable. I don't know about others. Any updates on Prop 50? No. There are no updates on Prop 50. We are, California, it's 3 hours earlier in California. So it could be a while until we start getting some results there. Okay, so let's get back over here and see. Other super chats coming in. Mark with $100 Canadian super chat from Canada. Greetings from Canada. Happy to see these results. Longtime viewer. Keep up the good work. Keep up the great work, I should say. Appreciate that and appreciate you very, very much, Mark. Couple other clips I wanted to play for you. Oh, this is kind of weird. I had some California videos, but they are gone now. All right, I'm going to try to get back to that and find those. Oh no, here it is. The California, the lines of people waiting to vote for Prop 50 are just something else. Look at this. Like, these are the lines you would expect in a presidential election, maybe in a midterm, right? Or something like that. But people are waiting to vote for Proposition 50. It is wild, wild, wild stuff. Oh, there's people saying take the black shirt off too. Oh, some people are more uncomfortable because my overshirt came up, my shacket. I've been told that that's what it's called, a shacket. But so we've got some people saying they're now uncomfortable. They want the overshirt back on. There's other people saying take the black shirt off and just do the rest of the stream topless. I don't know that we can really do that right now. I don't even know if that's allowed necessarily per YouTube policy. So I want to be very, very careful with that.
What Steve is seeing on the big board with Zohran Mamdani, they broke for him, right, by a margin of something like 59, 60%. We're going to show that here next. And so this is an indication that this affordability message that Mamdani was laser focused on, we heard him talk about again and again, that this was effective for the voters who felt like cost of living was the most important thing. You see it here, 63% for Mamdani. We saw it and Sam talked about it. People think the cost of housing is too high. That was an issue that was resonant for them. So that's one of the big threads we've been following tonight. The affordability message for Democrats, the economic message for Democrats. What's the other big thread we've been following? It is, can we extrapolate anything from this race, from the other races to the midterms ahead of 2026? And this is where it gets kind of interesting when it looks at the voting for a change candidate. Look at this. Exit polls, when you look at candidate quality that mattered most, look at what it is. 27% say somebody who brings much needed change. They wanted to see a change candidate. We've seen this in elections before, right? Especially when the economic numbers are where they are. And look at how the vote break went there. 72% at last check went for Zohran Mamdani, of people who said that they wanted a change candidate. They broke for Mamdani overwhelmingly here. So the question is going to be for Democrats nationally, if you're going to read into anything from New York City, maybe how do you message yourself as a change candidate if you're a Democrat in one of these races? Now, I will say, here's my grain of salt. I've been saying it all night, and I think it's important to remember. New York City is very specific. There's a lot of nuance that is very New York City specific that may not be extrapolatable, if you will, to other places. You heard Leader Jeffries talk about that when he was on with us just a couple of minutes ago, Kristen.
Right.
So that's a dynamic at play here. But I do think those two nuggets are pretty interesting from the exits tonight.
Absolutely. And that word change, of course, has been such a big part of every election that we've covered practically for the past decade. So that's a very good point. Steve Kornacki, let me go back to you because speaking of, you are getting more vote coming into New York. What can you tell us?
Yeah, New York and New Jersey. We got a lot of flying here at once, but we've been saying New Jersey. Look, the story is Chitterelli needs to have this huge same day. So we're getting close now to complete in some counties. And I want to show you Monmouth County. We just set this one up a few minutes ago. This is a big county, and this should be a core Republican county. Now, 90% of the vote is in. Jack Chitterelli is going to win Monmouth County. Yeah. He didn't win it by enough.
Okay, and we do have a NBC News can project now that Mikey Sherrill is
This race was called an hour ago.
of New Jersey, the governor-elect of New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, who ran on a message of affordability of the economy, promising to lower property taxes against Jack Ciattarelli. This is his third time running for governor. He was endorsed by President Trump, but in this case, it did not make enough of a difference.
Might have hurt
Steve
him.
Kornacki, let me go back to you very quickly before I go to the panel. What are you seeing? How did Mikey Sherrill pull off this win?
Yeah, look, I mean, Democrats, they were excited about how they did in the early voting, and that certainly held up. And, you know, again, the same day is just, I was put this up a minute ago, but at 9 points, you know, Republicans want this to be a 20-point county, maybe even more than a 20-point county. So Sherrill's certainly doing well relative for how you'd expect Democrats to do here. You know, we just, Bergen County, we're still waiting a bit on. But she is overperforming.
Listen, it's a blowout. It's a complete and total blowout. The thing that is now starting to get interesting is that while Decision Desk called this race for Mamdani a while ago, the margin has dropped to 8.1, which is the smallest that it's been. And PBS has not yet called it. NPR has not yet called it. And the Associated Press has not yet called it. I don't think the Decision Desk is going to be wrong. I don't think they've ever had to take back a call. But it is interesting that they are the only ones that have called it, and that it is tightening. But I think the Decision Desk knows what they're doing. It has always seemed that way to me. Let's catch up on some of the super chats. Alex says Rob Sand for Iowa governor. Keep the momentum going. Holly says corporate media is terrible. Thank you, David, and all independent journalists. Thank you. AJ says, David, sir, I hope the right is wrong about Mamdani. Let's go. Larry says, Pac-Man after dark. Samuel, love from Rio. My dad and I always watch you. Hope to work with you someday as a journalist. Great to hear from you, Samuel. Other super chats, we got Mark's. Andrew says, shout out to the nearly 100,000 volunteers who believed in Mamdani. Larry says, I'm on a trip to Mexico, so I couldn't vote. Looks like Mamdani's got it in the bag. And we will ban men.
And we will ban men.
Exactly. David, how does 10 cents provide a meal? We already went over that. If you're curious how $1 turns into 10 meals, check out the page on Feeding America about it. We are very confident in this charity. They do excellent work. Check out the UPS crash in Louisville. It looks bad. I don't deny that it looks bad. We're just doing election tonight, but I believe you. Costume Co. with a $50 super chat. David, hello from Canada. Very happy to see the blue wave in your country. Great to see you. I'll be back in Canada soon, Montreal. Viewer says, thanks for what you do, David. Been a fan since 2016. Is there a way to watch your TikTok debates without downloading TikTok? Yeah, we put them up on YouTube. We put parts of them up on YouTube. But otherwise, I think there are some websites that let you watch YouTube videos or watch TikTok videos without having TikTok on your phone or something like that. They also want an Obama. There you go. Very powerful message. That is for sure. We just did updates on New York, guys. There's a lot of people asking for updates. It is still 8.1 as a margin. Decision Desk has called it. PBS hasn't called it. NPR hasn't called it. Associated Press hasn't called it. We have 60% of the vote in. 60% of the vote. It is getting mathematically improbable. That's for sure. I believe I have video, but we'll go back to that. I thought I had video from a bunch of the different campaign headquarters, but I may not have it. Alex with a huge super chat says, love your show. Thaddeus says, anything less than a 10-point lead for Mamdani is too close for my taste, but hopefully he'll win. Who would you say is closest to being the next Democratic leader? Ooh, depends on what you mean by leader. Do you mean elected leader? Do you mean just like the moral center of the left or the party? I think that's a question to be answered more thoroughly after the dust settles from these elections. Harrison says, shout out to my friend Eugenia Nicotina, who always believed. Very, very good. Eliadic says, in 2021, you made a cameo for my best friend invoking Pinker's argument that Enlightenment values are gaining ground in the long view of history. Do you think Trump's second term is reversing the trend? Well, it's reversing it at the micro, but I don't think it's reversing it at the macro level. BDG says $6 for Pacman's 6-pack. Wow, that's big. Cat Daddy, found your channel, subscribed, loving it. Trump state regime media Fox will be crying. Cheers, David. Good vibes tonight. Can you check the Pennsylvania results? We actually just looked at the Pennsylvania results. They are all yes is winning to retain the justices. They are counting the votes, but very, very slowly. Very, very slowly in Pennsylvania, as they often do. Okay, we want to listen in here. Got it.
Hispanic vote. They should have done it by now. And I think it shows that, Mikey, people who are in the center can reach out to everybody. And that's what people want. I mean, that's why we have the Forward Party that Andrew Yang and I have among the co-founders, to offer people a choice of representatives who are going to really represent them, elected officials. And that's what Mikey Sherrill has said she was going to do, is go after those New Jersey issues and only concentrate on New Jersey, not worry about what Washington is saying or wanting them to do. I mean, she cares about what they're saying, and that's one of the things. Jack said he could think of nothing that Trump had done that was wrong for New Jersey, and yet he's canceled
what a clown.
the tunnel. He's done innumerable things that have cost New Jersey money and that have hurt the state. And so people understand that.
Governor Whitman, you take me to my next question. Do you think this race is equal parts in support of Mikey Sherrill and also a rejection of President Trump and this second Trump administration and some of his policies?
Well, it's definitely a combination. I mean, all elections at the end of the day are local, but in any election this year, the president is such an overwhelming figure, has made so many decisions that are hurting so many people.
All right, so people very excited about what's happening in Jersey. Dollar Dude says it would be hilarious if NBC cut to Mamdani's victory speech while not having called the race. That would be funny. Super Nintendo Chalmers says, oh, the super chat where you want to make money. Everybody else who makes money is bad. Let me see if I have my Alex Jones.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money.
There we
Everybody
go.
else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
And speaking of which, there is NBC News with the call that the mayoral race is over, with 60% of the vote counted and Mamdani leading by 8 points. NBC has now made the call that it is over, following the call from Decision Desk, which called it a while ago, and they have 64% of the vote counted. The calls are coming in one after another after another. Should we take a listen?
And that was a 12-point margin he had in the primary. I mean, clearly, you said the polls were all over the place, but the polls that showed the closest...
Someone's coughing a lot there on the set.
Here, in part because that Curtis Sliwa vote, that is, 10 points, maybe 15 points lower than he was at in some of the polls. And it just looks like it really did consolidate behind Andrew Cuomo. One thing to look at as the vote continues to come in is, will Mamdani end up clearing 50%? Will he be able to say he got a majority? Now, in terms of where the remaining vote is coming in, the one thing Mamdani, besides the fact that he just won the race, if he wants to crack 50, the one thing he has going in his favor is disproportionately, there's a little more vote to come out of Brooklyn than the other boroughs, just in terms of the proportion of it. And that is Mamdani's best part of the city right now. And where there is the least amount of vote to come in is Staten Island. And that is obviously Mamdani's worst part of the city. So the opportunity is there for Mamdani to get over 50%. We'll see. Could he make this a double-digit win over Cuomo? We'll see. But again, you think about this. This is the Democratic nominee in one of the most strongly Democratic cities in the United States. And in the general election, you're looking at maybe, a 10-point win, maybe a high single-digit win. So there ended up being a lot of folks in the city who were not willing to vote for Zoran Mamdani, even though he's with the Democrats, and even though the Democrats typically win New York City elections, by open lengths. So there was consolidation here. I think it's noteworthy as well. In our exit poll, we asked folks if it was just a two-person race. Cuomo versus Mamdani, and it was basically dead even in our exit poll there. So if you're the Cuomo campaign, you're seeing this consolidation. One thing you're probably thinking of is, geez, hey, they got Eric Adams, the incumbent mayor, to drop out and get behind Cuomo. What if they could have actually gotten Curtis Sliwa out of this race and gotten full consolidation? This thing would be, in fact, a real nail biter right now. And just, one final point as we watch the final results come in with Cuomo losing. Probably going to be a lot of talk that this is the end of that Cuomo dynasty, that goes back decades, I should say, with his father. His father, almost 50 years ago, ran for mayor of New York City, lost the Democratic primary, continued his candidacy as a third-party candidate in the general election, just like his son. And Mario Cuomo lost that election to Ed Koch, 50 to 41%. And that might be exactly where this thing lands tonight.
Unbelievable. Well, they do say history repeats itself. Thank you, Steve. Keep us posted.
Wow. Incredible data. It is really quite an evening. The degree to which the air has been let out of a lot of the sails of the MAGA world. Sorry, I'm trying to recreate the environment of the NBC set. The air has really been let out of the sails of MAGA right now. And as Trump is, deploying raids to snatch people off of the streets and demolishing the White House and dumping tariffs on everybody and all of this stuff, you see tonight win after win after win for Democrats. People asking in the chat about Prop 50 in California. The polls don't even close until 8 p.m. California time, which means another which means 11 p.m., another hour and a half roughly on the East Coast. But regardless, significant news already. I'm going to be honest. We have to wait until we have the data. I think Prop 50 wins, and I think it wins by a lot. I do, just based on the polling and everything that we have seen. So I am ready to make a declaration here tonight, and it is that 2026 starts today. 2026 is now a real thing. The battle is to take the House from Republicans and kneecap Trump's presidency and say it's over. You are getting nothing. You are getting nothing done. 2026 starts today. And auspiciously, I want to thank the 230,000 people who have come through the stream tonight, which is insane. If you're new to my channel, I would be humbled and flattered if you did subscribe on YouTube. It's free. It just means YouTube will feed you some of my videos in the future. I would love it if you did that, and certainly hit the like button. We have also hit another milestone, which is that we have now collected tonight over $5,000 in donations for Feeding America. Trump is cutting food stamps. A judge said you got to send them out. Trump's saying, I'm not going to do it. There's food insecurity. We're trying to do something. I know many of you want to do something. I want to do something. And so what we're doing is through November, every new membership sign up on my website, joinpacman.com, every new Substack premium subscriber on my Substack, your first payment, no matter whether it's a monthly or yearly, and I apologize for hitting the mic, I'm getting very excited, we are donating to Feeding America. For every $1, they can fund 10 meals. We have now collected 5,100 in donations and funded 51,000 meals. So I would also love it if that is a cause that speaks to you. Consider participating in that. We are getting really close here to sort of what will be. Listen, what the margin ends up being in New York City will be interesting insofar as if Mamdani ends up under 50% versus over 50%, there is going to be this jockeying around, did he get a majority or not? And I think that is important and relevant. I don't know where it's going to land. We are following that data. And then we are going to start seeing data come in from California, Prop 50. That's going to be much later in the night. We are not there yet, but we will probably hear between now and then victory speeches and a number of other things that we are standing by for. That is for sure. Let's get to a couple of other super chats here. Picture Perfect says, proud to support the campaign. Incredible work by everyone. The election results show the strength of our democracy and the power of teamwork. Go Blue voted for Prop 50. That well said. Very well said. Glad you remedied your hair issues from yesterday. Do you think these large Dem victories are a good sign for 26 confidence of legit elections? Listen, the issue of the legitimacy of 2026's elections and the attempts that Trump is going to make, we're going to deal with that. It's not for tonight. It's not for tonight, but we are absolutely going to deal with it. Please try to get Rob Sand on the show if you can. Iowa has gone full MAGA cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs past 10 years. He could slow that. We will try. Kyle with a shout out from Vancouver Island, Canada. Jabo says, I don't get the ignorance. Journalists need to eat. Channels and publications have employees to pay for. Take my super chat. Thanks, Jabo. And Zebo says, thanks for all you do. Appreciate everybody that is here today. So great to see so many people come by on what is really, really quite an evening of win after win after win for Democrats. I am curious, is Trump going to post something to Truth Social? Still nothing. Still nothing from Donald Trump, who is presumably aware of what is going on. I would imagine that he is. Did I just miss a super chat? No, I think I did. I think I got it. What was the Jones texting controversy? Jones, let me look it up again. Jones had text messages fantasizing about shooting then House Speaker Todd Gilbert and his partner. Wait, was it in his partner? And his children. Oh my God, that's even worse. Yeah. So they voted for a guy who fantasized about shooting a politician and his children, which is aggressive stuff, certainly. Certainly aggressive stuff. All right, let's listen to, I forget, Hogan Gidley. Yeah, I was on with this guy once with Megyn Kelly.
Elections. These are Democrat states electing Democrat people to be their Democrat representatives in a Democrat-controlled government. This isn't necessarily news, although I think there's some really telling pieces of it.
Well, Virginia often votes for Republicans, so that's not true.
Of the people in Virginia just said they want someone to be their attorney general, the top law enforcement official, who said he wanted the Speaker of the House in Virginia to be murdered and Republican children to be murdered. Let that sink in about just how dark of a landscape that paints, number one. Number two, undoubtedly, I think this night shows that the Democrat Party is now the party of Mondami. I think it's AOC. I think it's the entire left-wing base of what has been bubbling and roiling beneath the surface for quite some time now. I think they take control. And you see that, right, and you see that because Democrats like Chuck Schumer are terrified to vote for a continuing resolution until AOC says she's not going to run against him. They're terrified of that radical base. And also the issue of affordability. I think this is interesting because, as you know, prices for gas and groceries down under Donald Trump. Inflation is down under Donald Trump. Interest rate.
None of that is true.
The affordability issue is important in these states. New York and New Jersey have some of the highest state taxes on the planet. So they don't have anyone else to blame but themselves for high prices. And I'm going to be interested to see how Mondami decides to tackle that.
Do you all, let me ask you all a question, okay? We'll just do it by chat. Do you think that they, including people like Hogan Gidley, are mispronouncing Mamdani's last name on purpose, just like they did with Kamala's first name? Or do they not know how to say it? What do people think?
Is the argument, I think, that you are going to hear from Republicans heading into the midterms, which will officially start tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, they have to be sweating it out after tonight. I don't know how any Republican is feeling good about...
To this argument that Hogan is making, the Democratic response should be what?
Most people seem to think that it's on purpose.
Being the face of the Democratic Party? I mean, I think the answer is, and the people want it. I mean, the message has been the same for each one of these candidates. I mean, you take out this issue of socialism and this hyper focus on how to label Democrats, et cetera, et cetera. The point is, though, the message in each one of these races has been the same, which is, again, life is too expensive. The president came in, he said he's going to lower your costs. He's failed to do that on multiple different fronts.
Some groceries have gone up. There are a number of groceries that have gone up.
Oh, absolutely. Electricity bills have gone up. I mean, everything has gone up. I mean, the reality is, I don't care what the spin is. People are experiencing this in their everyday lives, me included. So the reality is these polls aren't lying. The votes don't lie either. You've had record turnout. A new coalition's been built tonight, all based on the fact that the Trump has.
All right, so the political class is going to analyze this endlessly, but we are going to really think about this in the context of this next election and what this might do to really interrupt the agenda of a horrible political movement that is backwards on most of the things that it believes. Ari says, don't have to go to sleep worrying about waking up to a J6 Jack win. Let's go, Cheryl. Brandon says, I miss hearing you say the failed former president. But do you need video editing help? Would love to help you push out even more. I think we're okay right now, Brandon, but I do appreciate your willingness, certainly, and your gusto. Holly says, I hate when they say they're Democrat instead of the Democrats. Trump has to be sweating right now. Did not have Jones winning tonight after the texting scandal. Dems massively sweeping Virginia State House, MAGA in shambles, massive dumps. Mamdani's name could be John Smith, and they'd pronounce it Jones Smite. Yeah, probably. Let's not forget voter turnout in New York City is whopping. Okay. Let me see. What am I missing over here that we wanted to do? Okay, we did the text messages thing. I did want to see whether we had any new video from California. We do not. These are, so one of the things that is important to think about is what will the Republican spin be on all of these victories? How can they minimize it? And we just heard it, okay? What Gogan Hidley, what this guy just said is these are Democrats winning in blue states. It doesn't really matter. Jesse Waters seems to have gotten that memo because he's going with the same thing.
Table with you.
Thanks for having me.
The Democrats are going to spin this. This is a referendum on Trump. I mean, these are all blue states, is it? So on the table with you.
Thanks for having me.
Let me explain to you why that theory is bullshit. It's bullshit because while it is true that New York City votes for people on the left, and New Jersey typically votes for Democratic governors, Virginia doesn't. But maybe more importantly, what matters are the margins. The margins are really what matter. And when you look, for example, at New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill is plus 14 right now. Phil Murphy, the current governor of New Jersey, won by 3. So, it's a blue state voting for a Democrat. Sure. But to go from voting for a Democrat by a margin of 3 to voting for a Democrat by a margin of 14 are two very different things and highly, highly relevant. On the other hand, let me see if I can pull up the Virginia numbers here. Right now in Virginia, Spanberger is plus about 12.5. Youngkin, the current Republican governor of Virginia, won by, I think it was also 1.8 or something like that. So to say Democrats are voting for Democrats, Virginia's last gubernatorial was Republican plus 1.8. And now it's Democrat plus 12.5. Now they're still counting votes. We don't know if that will be the margin at the end of the day. So we have to be prepared that they're clearly going to go for that. Gogan Hidley went with that talking point. Jesse Waters is going with the talking point of it's Democrats voting for Democrats. It means nothing. Incorrect. We have the data, and it means a lot. It means a lot at this point in time, given the context and those margins.
What has Zohran Mamdani done beyond just the affordability messaging? He's pulled in people that either weren't part of the process or were not aligned with the Democrats in the last couple of election cycles. And I'm talking about first-generation immigrants, younger voters, educated voters, Southeast Asian, Muslim, some Jewish voters, people that felt disaffected from politics. Kristen, there's this great video that he's posted online. He went to the Bronx right after the 2024 election, and he was talking to people and just asking them how they felt about politics in general. And they just felt so disappointed in the state of affairs. None of them wanted to get involved. A year later, he comes back, and some of the folks were recognizing Mamdani, giving him high fives, and saying how inspired they were by his messaging. So I know a second ago you were describing comments about whether or not people perceive him as authentic or inauthentic. When it comes to the empathy and the care about people, as he says, the human dignity component of being a democratic socialist. Feeling that did resonate, right? He's approaching right now, and I haven't checked the latest numbers, it looks like on your screen around 50%. Okay, that was not where Zoran was for most of his campaign. Even the most optimistic polls generally had him at 46, 47, Cuomo in the mid to high 30s. So he might be overperforming here, or perhaps Sliwa is underperforming after Trump's endorsement. Either way, he's close to 50%. It is a new day and age in New York City because this is a democratic socialist platform, although let's be very clear, Mr. Mamdani has distanced himself from the national DSA on some issues, and it is going to be fascinating to see how they work through that dynamic. Because while he has absolutely talked about using wealth redistribution through taxation on wealthier New Yorkers, he has said, I'm not completely convinced I have to do that, especially if Governor Hochul isn't going to go along with it. The DSA platform at its core, part of that is about taxing wealthier Americans to provide services to others. We'll see how that plays out. As far as what he's actually proposed, the biggest linchpin is going to be his universal child care. It's got a $6 billion estimated price tag, Kristen, but so many Americans and New Yorkers have been paying tens of thousands of dollars worried about their families. Could be a game changer if he's able to pull it off.
You're absolutely right. You talk about the fact that he meets Americans where they are. That was one of the keys to former President Barack Obama's victory, who, of course, called him to offer to be a sounding board to him in the final days of this campaign. Sam Brock, fantastic reporting there. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Let's head back to Rahema, who is at the headquarters of Andrew Cuomo.
Oh, boy.
Rahema, look, Andrew Cuomo thought perhaps that last-minute overnight endorsement by President Trump could help him peel away some of Curtis Sliwa's supporters. He did, in fact, but it just wasn't enough to get him over the finish line. He, by his own acknowledgement, was a flawed candidate.
That, and you should hear the music. I don't know if you can, but the song is Don't Go Breaking My Heart. The mood here is kind of heartbreaking. The people are not, it's not a jovial mood here at all. When they saw on the screens that Mamdani is chosen as the next mayor of New York City, this is the music that came up on the loudspeakers. This was a time when there are so many people who were thinking that Cuomo might be able to pull this thing out, because there was when Curtis Sliwa came up on the big screens and he was talking, the entire room that's filled with people, they booed in disagreement with Sliwa and even the fact that he was on that screen. And then there was a moment when the numbers came in about how Cuomo was doing in terms of New York City, and it looked like he was up. A roar of cheer went up in this room. They were hopeful. Their expectations was that maybe he could pull it out. As a former governor of New York said that he thought that the polls were closing. And one of the things that may have prevented him is that Curtis Sliwa did not drop out, as Eric Adams did in terms of mayor, and endorse him. But what will happen now, I think that people are still lingering here, thinking that their candidate will come out and address them. What he will say to them certainly is yet to be determined about the support that he got from this.
If I was there, I think I would just go home. Like, I don't think I would feel the need to hear a concession speech potentially hours from now. I would probably just leave.
Office of governor in disgrace only 4 years ago. He was campaigning on the same kind of issues that Mamdani was, and that was affordability, that was about safety, and he was saying that he had a record of doing those things and creating affordable housing, hiring more police. It resonated with the people who were filling this room tonight, but apparently it did not resonate with all of the New Yorkers, and the majority of them who went out to the polls and cast their ballots. So it was an effort that he said he thought he could win at the rate that the polls were closing. We talked before about how the numbers of people who turned out, is history making in this city in terms of the numbers who turned out for a mayoral race. But it was not enough for Andrew Cuomo to turn around his political fortunes.
It certainly was not. Rahema Ellis, thank you so much for being there for us tonight. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your reporting. Joining me now is Faz Shakur, political advisor to Senator Bernie Sanders and founder of More Perfect Union. Thank you so much for joining me, Faz. Really appreciate it. Want to start off by getting your reaction to this win by Zoran Mamdani. What are the broader implications and lessons you think Democrats should take from tonight?
Well, overjoyed for Zoran. It's a huge win. He made the case and then demonstrated that he could expand the electorate and draw people in who didn't vote in 2024 and who've sat out previous elections. So I think that's a great win. I think he comes in with the mandate to govern. That said, I will be honest with you, Chris, and I harbor some anger and resentment towards the billionaire class who decided to relitigate the primary. I mean, he won by 12 points in the primary. They spent $30 million plus against him. Then they go into the general. I think he's coasting really to a place of 75, 80% support in the city to win with the huge mandate. And they say, let's go spend another $15 million.
All right, so we may hear from Mamdani soon. I'm not really sure kind of what his plan is. We are not expecting any data from California for some time. That is certainly going to come later. And officially right now, Mamdani over 50% has been over and under, kind of up and down for a period of time now. And we will see where those numbers ultimately end up. We are really seeing no signs of hope for Republicans at all at this point in time. I mean, there's the races that they're losing. They're not only losing them, but they're losing them by margins that should be extraordinarily concerning. And I would imagine that there will be some MAGA rats abandoning the sinking ship tomorrow, or people saying there are mistakes being made and I don't like this, I don't like that. I think you're going to start seeing the 2026 election is going to start right now. I think that is abundantly clear. And I expect that is going to be an area of concern and discussion for Republicans as they have to figure out, well, how exactly do we run? What do we run on? What do we do? How do we distance from Trump? Do we not? But that is all going to happen tomorrow and beyond. In terms of Prop 50, I do expect it to win. Let me see if I can find polling. Prop 50 polling. I thought it was plus 10 most recently. Where do we have? Okay, polling on Prop 50. Oh, this doesn't actually say it. Polling numbers. Yeah, I don't have it. Let's see if some of the betting markets have it. Markets on whether Prop 50 will pass. Yeah, even some of them don't have it. All right, well, listen, my last recollection is that Prop 50 was polling extraordinarily well. And I expect it to pass. Plus 16. There's people in the chat saying, yeah, I thought 12 most recently. That I think the odds that the polls are off by that much are extremely, extremely low. And we are watching for Donald Trump's posts. And so far, there have been absolutely none there. Nothing from Trump, staying very, very quiet.
Learn more broadly beyond New York City, because New York City, people who live in New York City will tell you it's a real special place, right? And so how do you think about that as you're looking ahead to next year?
Ali, one of the ways you might want to think about, and we all should think about what happened tonight in New York City, is it turned out to be a primary within the Democratic Party. And it gives you a sense of where are Democratic voters when given choices, in my view, a choice of a corrupt kind of pro-billionaire establishment candidate in Andrew Cuomo, and then somebody who's offering bold, new, positive solutions that energize, to your point of the graphic, new voters and excite people about a type of politics. And what we've been told for a long period of time is that kind of exciting kind of politics doesn't sell well, it's naive, it's pie in the sky. Obviously, lots of billions are spent to try to send that message. And yet, mandate of majorities of Democrats, strong majorities of Democrats saying, that's it. Give me more of that kind of politics. And I think if you're in a different part of the country, whether Nebraska or California or Arizona, I hope you're taking away, let's be aspirational with specific, concrete, affirmative visions to address cost of living. It doesn't have to be exactly what Mamdani did in New York. It has to be some vision that tries to aspire to the same specific objectives of giving people concreteness about the ways we can address their problems.
Faz, we have about a minute left here. President Trump has threatened to cut federal funding to New York. What are the implications of that? Would that complicate Mr. Mamdani, Mayor-elect Mamdani's tenure?
There is for now Mayor-elect Mamdani, I think some lessons to learn from Trump, which are that every day President Trump comes in with a ball of fire and it's a whirlwind of action. You know this better than most, Kristen. Just every day there's 4, 5, 6 things that this administration is doing, and it keeps you off kilter. And I think there's a way to do this in a positive, affirmative way. If you're Zohran Mamdani, you don't get sucked into the places where Donald Trump wants to be, troll you and say you're going to react to everything he does. Stay on your front foot and be a positive, action-oriented Democrat who shows that we can do things on housing. We can do things on setting up grocery stores. I think you can think culturally, standing up compelling musical concerts in Central Park, be community-oriented, make this a place of a destination again that international travelers want to come to. Tell people New York is open for business. Please come back. So many people have decided not to come to New York City because of the tariffs and all of the immigration actions. I think he can send a different message.
Faz Shakur, thank you so much for joining us. We do want to go to Mikey Sherrill's headquarters.
Here we go.
Where the governor-elect of New Jersey is about to address her supporters who are cheering and celebrating her victory over Jack Ciattarelli. The third time Ciattarelli has run and made a play for the governorship. Tonight was Mikey Sherrill's night. She ran on a message of affordability, on a message of bringing down people's property taxes, and she becomes the second woman governor of New Jersey tonight. And there you see her waving to the crowd. Let's listen in to Mikey Sherrill.
They always say we're loud, but man, with this vote, you guys just scream from the rooftops. And people around the country have heard you. I hear you too. This was a tough fight, and this is a tough state. But I know you, New Jersey, and I love you.
I think she's really not good at reading these scripted speeches. Like this, she was really good on my show. I think she's not good at this.
I know your struggles. I know your hopes. I know your dreams. So serving you is worth any tough fight I have to take on, and I am incredibly honored to be your next governor. When I was 18, I raised my hand and I swore to defend the Constitution. And that moment defines me. It taught me that leadership means carrying the weight of other people's hopes, standing firm when it's easier to bend, and always putting the common good above personal gain. And I know how hard it can be to serve in these times. And I just got a call from Jack Ciattarelli, and I want to recognize him for stepping up. And all of you know, I love our history, and our state motto has always stuck with me. In 1777, New Jersey was one of the first states to choose a motto. Anybody? Liberty and prosperity.
Right.
I'm going to get some more civics education going. We'll get that known by all. But it was a demand for freedom from oppression and a commitment to creating better opportunity and a better future. That idea has defined us for almost 250 years. We fought for liberty at the crossroads of the American Revolution, turning the tide for our young nation at the battles of Trenton and Princeton. We offered prosperity as we built the nation during the Industrial Revolution. We've been the cradle of scientific discovery, inventing everything from the light bulb to the laser. Liberty and prosperity. I've seen the genius in that motto over the last year because both are essential in our democracy. And as the president is backing away from this ideal, cutting SNAP, ripping away health care, terminating Gateway, we here in New Jersey are bound to fight for a different future for our children. We see how clearly important liberty is. We know that no one in our great state is safe when our neighbors are targeted, ignoring the law and the Constitution. But prosperity is equally essential. Liberty alone is not enough if the government makes it impossible for you to feed your family, to get a good education, or to get a good job. So in this country, that shouldn't be too much to ask. But right now, all of it seems at risk. Governors have never mattered more.
True.
And in this state, I am determined to build prosperity for all of our citizens. And I've heard from thousands of you about what liberty and prosperity mean to you, what it's going to take for your family to thrive. So I hear you, Newark. I'm going to work with communities from the ground up so all of our neighbors thrive. I hear you, Sham, so I'm going to declare a state of emergency on day one to drive down your utility costs. I hear you, Westfield, so I'm going to make sure our kids are safe online and schools have the resources they need to address the mental health crisis. I hear you, Jersey City, so I'm going to hold government accountable, balancing individual liberty with collective responsibility, ensuring people are safe, healthy, educated, and free to pursue their dreams. I hear you, New Jersey. Good government doesn't just manage problems, it solves them. So I'm going to continue to listen and work with you to move our state forward, because I have learned so much as I've traveled our state. Our innovations, our businesses, our inventors and entrepreneurs have amazed me, but it's the people that have left the biggest mark, especially those who are fighting for prosperity for their entire communities. I was moved during my block walk in Trenton with Shanique as she spoke so passionately about the promise of her city and her neighbors despite the challenges. I love the group of young men from Monroe who've been hard at work on this campaign. They want a seat at the table and they're ready to fight for their future. The little girls who come up to me to say that they're going to be a governor or they're going to be a president. It reminds me of my own belief that anything was possible. Akeem's team, who worked their butts off, knocked over 60,000 doors. Akeem told me these are not the kids who will succeed in Trump's vision of this country, but they will in mine. The men and women in labor. Union jobs at a time when our economy is set up to make it harder and harder for working people. You know what? They don't just fight for their brothers and sisters in labor. They fight for all of us. For working families everywhere, so everyone has a shot. So thank you. Thank you to each and every person here tonight and across the state who's worked hard over the last year.
This is getting better as she goes, I think.
Volunteers who made millions of calls, texts, and canvases. To everyone who's ready to stand and demand a better future for our kids and our families. To my running mate, Dr. Dale Caldwell. You've already served our state so well, and I'm proud to have you by my side as we embark upon this new chapter for New Jersey. To my team, who put together a campaign the likes of this state has never seen, and helped in our efforts to create a great...
You have been listening to Governor-elect of New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, deliver her victory speech, Hallie, focused on her platform of the economy.
All right, definitely gained momentum as she went, that is for sure. We are about an hour from the numbers starting to come in from California. I am not going to be able to be here with you for that. My daughter wakes up at 5:30 in the morning these days, especially with the time change. So my coverage is going to end. I've got another show coming up. It feels like just hours from now, and it sort of is. So I do want to thank everybody who joined me. We are going to have analysis and more tomorrow, of course, on the podcast, which you can get on Spotify and Apple. Many other streams are continuing late into the night. A lot of those people don't have kids. It's been great to see everybody. We're going to do it again soon. I'm going to do a TikTok live soon, and then hopefully debate some people, hear from people, etc. Great to see you. Thank you. A lot of big wins tonight and very bad losses for MAGA. That's for sure. I'll see you very soon.